Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, December 30th, and today we will do another update to the RODY Fund. Today, we also have some guests, Jake and Jeff. They're from the Options Trading Discord. Jake and Jeff, do you want to say good morning?
Good morning. This is Jeff.
Good morning.
All right, good morning. Thanks for being here. They're going to give some color commentary. They're going to talk options and maybe even zebras if we can handle it. So first, we have a quick Bitcoin update. It's looking a little red. So, no surprise. Not quite sure we're going to hit 100K by, the new year. What do you guys think? Not happening?
No way.
No. Wishful thinking.
Maybe next year. All right. So, if you guys can confirm the audio that you can hear all three of us, that would be great. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. All right. So let's get to the RODY Fund real quick. I guess we'll just start with the whole zebra thing. So I guess a while back, someone brought up a comment of trying the zebra strategy, and then it's got our ear right in the Discord, and it's been, we're all trying to figure it out. So I'm just pulling up Tasty Live website. I believe they actually created it, to my knowledge, but it says here zebra stands for zero extrinsic value back ratio spread. So I guess I get the ZEBR, right? There's no A, but whatever works, right? It's a near 100 delta stock replacement with all the upside profit potential and the fraction of the risk. So I guess there's two types, right? A put and a call. I think my focus is going to be the call side, probably your guys too, I'm guessing. But it's more of like a bullish strategy. RODY's bullish too, but this is kind of like, I'll say, I think, it will do better in a bullish environment than RODY. RODY may do better in a, if your stock kind of tumbles quickly or over time. But I'm not going to go too far here on the website, but the idea is to buy 2 in the money calls and sell 1 at the money call. And this says to remove all extrinsic value. Not quite sure how that, I still need to grasp that because I was trying to run the numbers, and I'll show you guys in a second, but it doesn't make sense to me. Wish we had a zebra expert on the line, right? But so yeah, and then the zebra kind of ends there. What we're doing is a Zicket, right? I think that's the term we agreed to, Zicket. So basically, we're adding a weekly covered call in the process. So there's 2 in the money calls, and then there's 1 at the money covered call. Those 3 legs have the same expiration, but the zebra ends there. So where the Zicket picks up is where we sell a weekly covered call, and we turn it into an income play, right? It's a long-term bullish play. I'm sorry, go ahead. Did someone say something? No, all good. All right. But yeah, so I'll do is I'll sell a weekly covered call in the process, right? Does that make sense to you guys, Jeff or Jake? And have either of you done a zebra yet?
I have not done a zebra, but certainly selling weekly calls is a great strategy.
Yeah, I haven't either, and I'm interested in the benefits of them compared to the RODY, but for now, I'm sticking with the RODY.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then we have Black Mamba here doing the calculations for us. So, yeah, so I guess they say 70 delta, but yeah, 75, 75, and then the 50 would make sense, right? Being the 100. So let me show you real quick. because again, it says, so for the delta, the 2 in the money, right? So this is the in the money strike for Netflix, 85. So 270s, and then the covered call, the 105 is a 50. So obviously you add the 270s, subtract the 50, you get 0.90, which obviously is not one delta, but I think it's supposed to be 0.75, kind of like how Black Mamba is outlining. So, but I don't know why the website or everywhere I read it says that, right? But whatever. That's how they say when they say one delta. That's what they mean, at least to my knowledge. Now the extrinsic, I have no idea what the hell when they say it's 0 extrinsic, right? I'm reading here. The option strategy, blah, 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 blah. The extrinsic value of the long options is offset by the extrinsic value of the short option, resulting in a net. I mean, are they talking about one contract is net 0? Because that's kind of close, right? Or because when I add up all 3 legs, obviously it's not. I mean, there's still extrinsic. So I'm confused on that part. I'm not sure if this makes any sense to you guys. What do you know what they mean by 0 extrinsic? Jeff or Jake? If not, all good. We'll just
No, I wouldn't know.
Okay. All right, Black Mamba. If you know, type it in. Okay, so let's keep going here. So again, that's so the rules I have: buy 2 calls, 70 delta; buy 1 call, 50 delta, same expiration. And then I added this. I'm gonna sell 1 call at a 20 delta for weekly income. And the reason I'm doing 20 instead of at the money is I'm gonna treat it as more of a kind of capital appreciation play with income, right? Versus the RODY, it's more aggressive income play than the zebra. But again, this is all new to me for anyone missing. But
I like that play.
The 20 delta.
Yes, because you don't get involved with it going over as much.
Exactly. Yeah, because I like with the at the money, I'm constantly worried about trying to fix the play, roll it out and out. But the 20 delta, it should be fairly manageable, especially on a weekly basis, unless there's something crazy that happens.
Yeah, and I think one of the points that you made, Rod, before was you spend a lot less time on this stuff compared to when you were wheeling it, and I've noticed the same thing. So if you can have a strategy that's pretty hands-off and saves you a lot of time, I think that's a huge benefit for people.
Yeah, and that's the same is going to happen with the zebra too, right? Because again, when you establish the 3 legs, you could do short term or you could do long term. I'm choosing 1 year out. So again, I don't want to have to worry about those 3 legs. They're just going to sit there. It's a long term play. All I want to have to worry about is the weekly play. But even that is just going to be Thursday or Friday, because every time you're going to want the extrinsic, to kind of burn out to almost nothing, and then you would do a rolling order. At least this is how I've been doing it, right? A rolling order Thursday or Friday, and you're done, right? You're just done. But yeah, the wheel. Oh my God! Every day I was on the computer trying to make a trade, trying to add a new fund, trying to do this. This is kind of just like putting me in my place in a way, and I work Fridays, right? I'm an options trader on Fridays. Every other day I watch. So I like it.
I walk around my house wondering I should be doing something right now, and it's very comfortable not to have to.
Exactly. And then there could be cases like you may have to do something sooner, like my IWM, I screwed up, right? I should have rolled it when I found out about X dividend date, right? That's kind of a lesson learned, which obviously I could have done on the Friday too, but I should have done action throughout the week. But yeah, for the most part, 100%, it's less time consuming than the wheel strategy if you make it that way.
What I find too on the extrinsic is that the closer you get to the end of the day on Friday, the better off you are. And sometimes I'll just even let it run out and then wait till Monday and set another option on Monday, waiting for like a bounce back or something like that. It all depends on your strike price and you know, the option price on Friday and then on Monday also.
Exactly. And I'm going to pull up like QQQ, for example, not to jump ahead or anything, but like right now I have a 619, right? So that's my strike price that expires Friday. The current price is at 620. So let's say on Friday it's around 619, 620. I really should wait until the afternoon to roll this, not just Friday afternoon, because even that morning, I'm noticing there's so much extrinsic that could be left when you're close to the strike price. Like if QQQ was at like 615, 610, the extrinsic would be pretty minimal. But when you're close, when your strike is actually close to the current price, I'm noticing, it's a PM trade essentially. You can't make this a Friday AM trade, or else you're still dealing with a lot of extrinsic. I'm not sure
Exactly.
if you guys see that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go to my first Zicket. Again, this is our zebra ticket. Where does Zicket come from? I don't know. Someone said Zicket, maybe one of you guys, but it's kind of like a cricket with a zebra and a ticket. So to me, it's like a long-term ticket, right? On a stock that maybe you believe will go up over whatever time frame you choose, right? So, I've always liked Netflix, right? I'm a believer in Netflix. I use Netflix. I think they had a recent sell-off, which was maybe an overreaction, and they're still dealing with the whole merger. But whatever, right? That is what it is. I don't try to really predict too much price movement, but to me, it's cheap based on where it's been trading. But so I did a 382-day DTE. So I bought 2 calls and I sold 1 call. The price was at 93.75. The call that I bought was 85 strike, which I don't have the delta column here, but that was the 70 delta, right? The 0.7 delta. And it is 9.72% or 9.3% in the money at the time. So that's for the 2 calls, the 2 leaps per se, right? And then I had to pay $20.97 each, or $4,194 for the 2 in total. And then the sold call, that's a 50 delta, that's a 105 strike, 12% out of the money. And that expired, again, same expiration date, right? But that's going to give you a nice credit. That's going to give you 1161 credit per share. But since you're doing 1 contract, obviously it's not going to offset the whole thing. It's going to offset a portion of it. So now for the 3 legs, basically I'm paying $3,033, right? So it's kind of the same idea, right? Because with RODY, you buy the call and you get an overall credit from the puts. Here you're getting a credit from the call that you're selling, right? And to me, the beauty here is, you don't even have to worry about any of this, right? And if it goes up to that, then obviously that's some capital appreciation you can get. If it blows through it early, again, we could talk about that and deal with that when the time comes, but I haven't really thought that far ahead at the moment. So that's the 3 legs. And then again, the leg that we're adding, making this the Zicket name, is I'm selling a 20 delta every single week on the Monday or the Friday. Typically the Friday I'll do it because I'll do like a rolling order. This delta was 0.19. It was the closest to 0.2. It was 2.49% out of the money. Looks like it's already 1.96% out of the money. But again, we have a short week, so I'm not too worried. And and this paid me 26 cents per share or $26. But what I do is I compare that to how much did I shell out, right? I shelled out 3,033. Okay. So I made 26 bucks putting that up. That's a 0.86% return, right, for 1 week. And then I annualize that and multiply that by 52 to get 44%, which again, this is not crazy yields like I'm used to, right? But I'm going a little less aggressive on the covered call strike on the weekly basis. So again, I'll pause. I don't know if you guys have any comments or if you think this is somewhat of a good strategy, or what would you do? Would you go at the money or?
I think to start out with, it's a good strategy. And as you move along down, down to further dates, you can, first of all, hopefully you'll have some of that premium collected, and you can relook at, where you write your strikes. You can always adjust the strikes and make it, closer to the money. It depends on what you think the stock or the market's going to do for that particular week that you're writing in.
Yeah, exactly. And someone commented you could sell 2 weeklies, but I guess maybe he missed it. But we already sold a call on one of the contracts here. So that's locked in for the entire, period. So we only have one contract that we can sell calls on. I just wanted to clarify that. All right. Let's see. Again, Black Mamba, you got to get in the Discord so I can add you and we can get you on the, on the live chat too. Because I know you're typing a lot. You can save yourself some time. What's your weekly average return on RODY as of, well, today it's whatever I made on Netflix, because again, all my trades happen on the Friday. So as of today, it's basically nothing. So, yeah, so as far as the tracking, I'm going to do the same process. I'm not sure if you guys use a spreadsheet or not too, but so obviously this is what I paid, 3,033. The current value is 3,065. Again, so on paper, yeah, whoopee-doo, I know I'm up $32, but again, it's just something to keep an eye on to see, what the position value is. Obviously, the hope is over time Netflix will go up in value, and then these three legs, when I close them out next year, hopefully I'll have a nice little capital appreciation. I can close out those positions. And then for tracking, the as-at numbers, I added them here. So again, 3,033 up front, $26 in covered call premium. So right now, again, the idea is the same for me. I want to flip this green, right? I want to make enough money on the weekly premium to offset the expense of opening the position, and then essentially call it house money at that point. But it's going to take a little longer since it's less aggressive covered calls. But yeah, Netflix brings now a new sector to the portfolio, communication services. So I now have communication services. I got consumer staples, financials, technology, and real estate. So that's kind of, where we stand. Plus, I have the two indexes on the RODY. So I got one Zicket, and I got two, four. I got too much going on now. I mean, I'm getting a little crazy here, but I feel like I'm pretty diversified. I know diversification is overrated, as everyone says, but kind of is what it is. I'll pause and I'll ask either Jake or Jeff, do you have, I think you both said you do the RODY play, and if so, who are your current positions and how is it working for you?
You can go first, Jeff.
Okay, well, I have RODYs on SOFI and ELF. And the SoFi one seems to be working out fairly well. And the ELF, I've just followed Rod and trying to figure out how to make back all that big loss. I did them a little bit differently than you did. I didn't write the initial or buy the initial puts. So I took a bigger loss when it went down. But then again, I didn't pay for the puts either. So there's that aspect to it. And I've been a little bit more aggressive writing the weekly calls. So yeah, I think I might make the money back, and I'm trying to figure out how to change the position to be profitable in the end, which I think I might be. We'll see.
All right, so you took the full beat down on Elf without the put protection. So after that happened, does that make you want to always buy the put going forward, or are you still the same mindset? Just do like the synthetic combo without the collar. What's your feeling on that?
Yeah, you probably should buy the put, but don't listen to me because I'm not doing it.
You want to save your money, right?
Yeah, I just feel like most of the time you're not going to take a beat down like that, and I think us playing the earnings play is part of the problem. Is it Elf really took it down?
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Yeah, the thought was, utilize the IV of that earnings, especially on that weekly call that we made. But man, the likelihood of that happening though, it was just the luck of the draw for us, really. It was, I guess they were overvalued at that point in time. But you said SoFi is kind of working out for you.
SoFi is doing really well. Yes, I'm trying to be a little bit more conservative. I know me and SB were having a small argument this morning about where to put the SoFi call. Somebody else is writing it on the Discord, and I told them to write it at 27.5, and SB said to write it at 27, and I'm not going to say he's wrong or I'm right or whatever. I just, to each, whatever each person wants to do is fine with me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it doesn't really it's everyone's choice too. It also depends on what your synthetic average is, right? So if we talk about on the SoFi topic, right, I can pull up my average, 28, right? Granted, I played it completely wrong because I averaged up like a dumbass, but it was at the beginning and I wanted more, and SoFi was running. I'm like, damn, I'm gonna lose out. But yeah, patience is key. But anyway, my average is 28. So what I'm doing, I try to keep the weeklies at that or above. It's trading. Well, it's at 26.82. So it's okay. 28 at this number. Will it pay a lot of premium? Yeah, it'll pay okay. But so are you trying to sell weeklies at a strike above or at or above your average, or are you
Absolutely.
just yeah,
Absolutely. So I started out at 30, and then when you I think you bought a 25, and I said, oh well, let's do a 25. So then I did a 25, and so that brought my average down to 27.5, which for the price that it's at right now seems to be working out pretty good. So if I'm at 27.5 or above, I'm happy. Although this week I wrote it, I had one in for 28, and on Monday, um, it it just spiked up to 28, and or spiked up, so my 28 got executed. I wasn't even paying attention, and um, my call got executed, which was nice. And I'm like, okay, fine, and it'll expire worthless this week, and I'll do it again next week, or
yeah.
at the end of this week. We'll see what happens on Friday.
Nice. All right, Jake. You're up. Do you have any Roddy plays?
Oh yeah, I've got all of yours pretty much. I added SMR. I followed SB on his Bitex. I took in XOM for an oil play.
Damn.
And then I got crazy and I said, well, a real oil play would be the USO. So I throw USO, which is a oil tracking ETF or whatever. So I got that going. I like the ELF. I got in after the fall, so I think my cost basis is 78. So it's doing really well for me. Nice premium generator. I got following you on the hood, and then to compete with the SMR, I jumped into NNE, which I think is their competitor. So we'll see who battles that out and buys each other out in the long run, maybe. And then jumped into TNA just because you talk about it a lot, and then it generates a lot of premium.
Okay, so the TNA, when you opened the synthetic collar, I don't know if you did the collar or not, but when you opened the synthetic, how far out did you go on expiration?
417 of 26.
Okay, so you kept it fairly close, obviously shorter distance versus going a year out, because again, yeah, they say the leverage plays over time decay, right, because of the daily balancing. But TNA, and I'm sure that pays well, right? I'm sure, because based on how much money you're actually using and the premium you can earn, I'm sure. I haven't ventured out on the leverage play, but has it paid out pretty well for you?
Oh yeah, I think I made almost $600 on that last week alone.
Wow.
I bought it back and then sold it again during one of the dips, so it seems like it's doing pretty good.
And you said you're in Robinhood. What's your synthetic average on that one?
Hood, I'm at 120.
120.
And I went out a whole year on that one.
Wow. So you got in after the drop.
Yep.
Wow. Wait, so you timed ELF right, you timed Hood right. So you got like the perfect time here.
Well, hey, blind squirrel catches it sometimes here. It's
Jeff, we got to follow Jake, Jeff.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
I'm just patient. That's all.
Yeah. No, if you got an ELF after the earnings, oh my God, it's doing well after that, right? After the disaster. But like I said, when I started kind of doing this, the market, a lot of these tanked. But even though that happened, it's still working, right? I'm still, the strategy still does work as long as, you take your time and be patient with it. My Robinhood is by far my worst, right? But I think it'll catch up. Like Palantir was in a bad spot, and look what happened, right? They caught up, right? And now my cost basis is what, 185? Yeah, 185 between the two. And now here we are. Yesterday it closed at 184. And last week, I actually wanted to mention this because last week I had a 185, and Palantir, it was around like 190, 191. And I went to roll it to 190. I mean, due to the short week too, I couldn't get a credit. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to roll it at 185 because you never know, right? It could fall. It could drop down. So why not? I'll collect the premium. I'll take the risk. I'll deal with the after effect after. And here we are. It dropped to 184. So obviously it's still early in the week. I do understand that, but it just kind of shows you you don't have to really rush necessarily unless you really think that stock is going to run. But do we ever really know? I mean, who knows, right? But I just wanted to show that example in case, you guys ever deal with something similar, right?
I deal with that on other stocks. I've been dealing with it where one of the things I've noticed in the last 6 months or so is on your if you try to write stuff around earnings, you have a high percentage that you're going to get burned and it's going to go the wrong way on earnings. And then you're like bag holding and trying to figure out how are you going to get out of these positions, as it works its way back up, or you keep just writing options, right? Like a kind of a stock repair options theory where, you just keep writing options, kind of exactly what you're doing. You write it at, hopefully, it doesn't get called away is what it is. That's your problem.
Yeah. And you could, keep that earnings date in mind and play it a little differently, because you may not have to go as aggressive depending on what you want to yield, right? Because you do want to trade over earnings though, because that's really where the premium is. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna, because even like if you don't sell a call over earnings and it drops, you just missed out, right? Because you could have sold, a call, collected that premium, and then a little maybe withstood the drop a little better because again you collected the premium and essentially had a contract that expired worthless, so you probably collected most of that premium, right? So
As
that's
long
the
as you don't
thing.
get too greedy.
Yeah,
Get too close
exactly.
to the money there and you'd be fine.
Yeah, that's the thing. Where do you choose? Where do you go? And that's the fun of all this. So
I agree.
all right. Do you guys track um this madness like I do, or do you just kind of just keep an eye through your brokerage?
I track every trade I do. I track it because I'm really struggling with. I made $5,000 this week, but my portfolio went down $5,000. Where did the money go? So I'm really trying to track my overall, capital gains or capital losses, where it's leaking out at.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, if this is all that you're doing, right, then obviously it's within the value, right, of the synthetic. So if the underlying is going down, yeah, you're making money on the covered call, but obviously, like if that underlying's dropping, the value, of the positions you're holding are dropping. But again, that's why I choose the 1 year out, because the idea is by that time, long term, it should be worth more than when I opened the position. So as long as I could bear through the ups and the downs, yeah. Again, who knows what'll happen in a year, right? But at least that's my thought.
Yeah, I don't track as the way you do, but I do track through my brokerage through Schwab, and they have great tracking software as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So I can track an individual ticker and figure out, well, where I'll track it just on a piece of paper is what it is, and say, okay, am I up or down? And it's like I was in SVIX for like almost a year and finally got out of it and made a profit, so I was happy.
Yeah. So you guys, I didn't hear that either of you are trading an index. Is that correct?
uh, I'm not doing RODYs on an index, but I'm trading indexes. Well, I'm the one that trades the index almost every day. I put
With the
the
SPX numbers.
yeah, the
Yeah, yeah,
SPX numbers. I put the levels in every day in the morning, and usually I'll get them, from Schwab on the Schwab TV at 8 o'clock in the morning. You can get there'll be Kevin Green will be on, and he'll give out his levels, and we're like trying to find the levels every day and trying to find Kevin. If we don't get it on the TV, then we'll get it on X. He'll post it on X, and then I know there's people on the Discord trading on those levels as I am. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah. I give you credit for doing that. I still haven't ventured out there for the dailies or the
What's your
zeros.
overall win rate on that, Jeff? Just ballpark. You in the 80s,
No,
90s?
oh yeah, my win rate is pretty good. It's the problem is avoiding the losses is what So I've taken some pretty big hits on losses, which really wipe out all your wins. And the latest thing I'm doing also, which I'll just put in a plug for this, is we're on the futures Discord that Rod set up for futures, and we're trading futures on kind of like the Tom King method. And McCheese set me up with all of this stuff, and I'm trying to learn how to do futures, which is very interesting and kind of fun.
Yeah, you're doing
So,
it all. I
yeah,
got,
yeah. So, and the futures kind of trading right now. We're trading oil, which I've traded USO in the past, and I don't really like USO, to be honest. So I'm trying to stay away from USO. But in the futures, seems to be working out pretty good. And Tom King's method of trading is basically to sell very, very far out of the money iron condors, and just kind of basically doing the same thing we're doing, but having very little risk of getting assigned or getting in the money is what it is. So, and that seems to make a lot of sense to me.
yeah. Okay.
So,
Rod, I do the indexes, but I've followed you since the February, a couple of years ago in February. I ran across you when I was in the Keys. And so I've been stuck in the ETF world a little bit. So I think that's where a lot of my value is going down. So that's where I've gotten out of the really high yielders and just sticking with some mediocre 20% return index stuff. So if I'm not playing with the money, at least it's generating something and not going away too bad while I figure out where I'm going to put it.
So that's actually a good point to bring up. So you're mostly, as far as the high yield ETFs, you said you're more so just staying with the conservative ones and doing options trading yourself on for I guess your own high yields.
Yep, that's my long term. Once I get out of everything that I was in, I'll stick into like SDTY kind of stuff where it's about 20% and maybe lose 1 or 2% on the NAV. That's fine, but kind of a high yielding savings account, honestly, while I figure out where to buy the next contract.
Yeah. Okay. And
yeah, the same thing. I'm in, and I have some high yielders that, I mean, which is kind of how I started out with you also. But basically, I just bought 100 shares of every of the things that I'm in, and I'm just kind of reinvest, maybe reinvesting the dividends of those, and just watching it, see if it's any good or not. And to be honest, I'm probably not going to get out of the high yielders, but I'm not so heavily into them that it really matters if I only have 100 shares or whatever. It's not the end of the world for my portfolio. Basically, to just kind of watch it and see what happens to it. And overall, I think I'm probably pretty close to house money on a lot of those anyway. So
yeah, is it just that you don't you want to keep some in the high yielders because you don't want to trust yourself playing with all the money, or is it because you
yeah,
just want to keep it as like, okay, this is going to sit in cash anyway, so I'll just keep it in something that works.
right. I mean, it's just like some of my investments. It's just they've paid for themselves. So
Yeah,
if I get out of them, then what am I going to do? I guess just leave it in there and see how it does. I mean, just
yeah,
um, I mean, everybody badmouths the high yielders, and I probably am not far behind on them, but of bad mouthing them. But on the same token, if I put $1,000 into it and it's paid me $1,000, then what do I care what it's worth?
yeah. I mean, the thing is with the high yielders, right? They have to stick with the strategy that they wrote up, and they can't really go outside of that, right? Because legally, they're bind to that. They have to go with whatever they wrote up to being their strategy. That's what they're doing. Like the beauty of us when we start trading our own options, we could, all right, I'm not going to sell a covered call this week, or I'm not going to do this, or I'm going to move it out way out of the money because I don't trust earnings, or we could have that flexibility, which I'm not going to say, and I'll never say I know more than any of those fund managers because they're beyond, way more experienced, but they are sticking with it, whatever strategy is written up. So I mean, all these funds, they do what's intended, right? So it's just like, all right, pick the strategy that you believe in, pick the underlying that you believe in, and hopefully it works out. But obviously, sometimes, like, I always look at Tesla and I'm like, Tesla, their IV, I feel like it's just underappreciated. Like, that IV, it should be more because Tesla, it just moves so rapidly and it could just, kind of destroy you on the weekly trade sometimes, which it's tough, right? When you look at Amazon, though, Amazon, it don't, it's kind of been working, right? AMZ has been a pretty good performer versus some of these others, but I don't know. That's just my thought.
No, I think you have good thoughts, and I like part of just watching it and keeping it is just kind of. I've learned so much from watching your videos and on how they're trading, and like so, if we're doing all these Roddies or the zebras or whatever we're doing, is why is our
Zicket.
trading going to be any different than them?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, the Roddy is pretty much the synthetic combo that they're doing, right? It's just another leg, but without them coming out with these funds, I almost forgot about options in general, and them coming out with these funds, it really like reminded all of us the power of what you can do with options, which is good, you know, because I think it's always good for people to learn it themselves. If they want to, pursue it, that's another story. But it's just a good tool. All right, so since obviously you're both here live, and thank you, by the way, for joining. Again, well, the idea for those listening is we'll do the occasional options roundtable where we could either talk about Roddy, zebras, Zickets, maybe even futures, or the zero DTEs. But as far as at least the Roddy spreadsheet, since you guys are here, did you guys have any questions for me on how I track certain things, or is any of this not clear that I should explain a little better?
I think you've done a great job as you've developed it more and more, and clicking on the cells as you go through allows people to see what the formula is and correct theirs, if it gets messed up on their end. That's really helpful on my side. I've figured out how to condense it just a little bit, so all your holdings and your calls are all on one screen. So I don't have different tabs for each one, but it's very helpful.
Yeah, too many tabs, right? I know it's believe me, I thought about that, but it kind of, I think for especially content purposes, I think I have to keep it as a separate tab. Do you use the spreadsheet that I shared?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm glad it's helpful. But again, if I as I update things, I always hate sharing spreadsheets because I change things all the time. But again, I'll try to update the template every now and then. So what about this page? I don't know. I should probably actually add earnings down here somewhere too. You guys track earnings?
Not tracking. I know we're kind of in the middle of the season, but besides that, not until it gets closer.
Yeah, I have this, which is the stock market analysis. So Robinhood is what? No, SOFI. SOFI is in January. Okay. So this is just kind of like a quick way to do it. Palantir's February. Elf is Elf again. Oh man. Jeff, you gonna make it?
Well, I think as far as earnings go, I certainly don't. I'm not as having spreadsheets and all on earnings, but I certainly try to keep in mind when I'm writing my options that am I writing it over earnings or not writing it over earnings, and that makes a big difference. Sometimes I'll, if earnings is on a particular date, I'll, and I'm writing an option, I don't want to write it, over that date. I'll wait, until maybe the week of, and then
Yeah.
you can decide what you're doing at that point.
But that's the thing. Like, how do you know? How do you know unless you track it somewhere? I mean, you
Right.
could
You need
tell.
to. Yeah, I write it down. Yeah, I write
Yeah.
it down.
You could tell by the premium. Probably it's going to be like
Right.
premium's going to be much
Absolutely. You can
higher.
tell by the IV a lot of times is when if you
Yeah.
look at some of these stocks, maybe not the ones we're trading so much, but there's some like I have Chipotle, for instance, and it has like no IV most of the time, except when it gets to earnings, and then Chipotle earnings goes crazy up is what it is. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'll have to
so
maybe.
so so the high IV on that stock is only 4 times a year is kind of what I'm saying, which is
Yeah, that
crazy.
sucks. I mean, why even bother, right?
Well, it's another one of my earnings plays that went the wrong way, so I have to get out of
Uh,
it.
yeah, I know. That's like I wish Costco, their IV is so low, but like I would love to have them. Like they may be a good zebra one, right? Because it's more of a growth. But again, the weekly premium is probably a joke, you know. So I don't know.
For Costco?
Yeah, what's their IV? Like under 20? I don't even know, but
You'd
it
be
was just a
surprised.
little higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's an expensive stock, but
Yeah.
you, you get a lot of the premium back then weekly.
It's
You
a,
know, if you can afford to lay out the cash in front,
yeah.
weekly premium is pretty sweet.
Yeah. Because that's one, like, I don't know about where you guys live, but like that store is just pure insanity. Like any minute of any day, that store is just beyond mobbed. And it's always a well run store. Like it's always organized and it's just as overvalued as they say the stock is, I just feel, I would feel comfortable owning that, like in Walmart, nobody's touching Walmart and their prices. So that could be a good one for probably the zebra.
I mean, it's a $590 at the money premium right now for 1 week, expiring January 2nd. So even with a day gone, you're still getting some decent money.
What's the premium
590.
for Costco?
Yeah.
Stock.
That's the stock price.
No, that's the price of the premium here. $5.90 per share.
What is Costco up to?
867.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that's even with Roddy, that's going to be that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's going to cost you like $6,000 to get into. But
Yeah, I spent enough on the Qs. If you look here, what I spent, 6,100, which to me that's a lot, right? On these for one contract, because the problem is if you have to add another, right? Obviously, that's going to be another chunker, right? But the indexes, they don't move as much. So, yeah. All right. So what else did an update? So yeah, my as at someone was asking what my current yield is for the week. $26. So that's a annualized yield of 2%. So yeah, obviously this is gonna change on the Friday, on Thursday and Friday. No, Thursday is the holiday, right? Yeah. So Friday is where the action happens.
That's Black Mamba was asking you that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions in the chat? Let's see. What do you guys think of going live on YouTube? Fun?
It's interesting. I have you up on my TV and on the phone at the same time. So there you go.
Nice. I figured as I'm turning into more of an options content channel, I think it's good to make it. I kind of like the round table idea because obviously for those that are in the Discord, they understand we're talking about this all day, right? In via text, but if we could make it a community conversation, I think it could be helpful maybe to others listening because you guys could bring up different questions, different perspectives, different thoughts, and of course, asking questions through actual talking versus, sometimes you don't want to message it. Messaging could be a pain in the ass sometimes, but so if I
So
can get,
what would help your new folks, I think, a little bit, Rod, would be being able to watch a trade happen sometimes.
yeah,
So when you can work from home or whatever and walk them actually through the clicks, you're
mhm,
so transparent about your money. You don't mind showing your count values or whatever. So that's nice. But it would really help us that just don't really see it until we see it. That would help.
yeah, and I tried to do that a few times, and I use Thinkorswim. I believe most of you know that. And the problem with Thinkorswim, I don't know if it's as visible, but yeah, like this Friday, if I can, like that would probably, like you said, like maybe a good idea to show how I roll my thought process of the rolling order. So if I go like say live Friday afternoon, maybe that could be a benefit to people, like you said, versus me talking about it, the morning after, right?
Yeah, and Stink or Swim is so overwhelming sometimes. There's so
Oh yeah,
many
yeah,
buttons to not have to worry about, but they're still there and could really overwhelm folks. That would be helpful.
exactly. So
Yes,
kind
I
of,
use Thinkorswim mobile, and just as an aside, I did post about it someplace in Discord, but um, Thinkorswim desktop, I'm overwhelmed by it, to be honest. I'm not. Schwab gave me a free 45-minute education session on Thinkorswim, and it was very, very helpful. So for those newbies, if you're on Schwab, I highly suggest you call them up and get scheduled for a education thing for like an hour or 45 minutes, I guess. You can do it every 120 days. It was very
yeah.
helpful.
And I'm of the exact same thought, Jeff. I use the app when I trade. I actually don't use the only time I use the desktop is when I do content, right? To show people. So sometimes when I'm like showing it, I'm like, all right, I don't even know where to click. But the app, yeah, it's just so much easier, compact, right? Everything's kind of there. But it's more about getting used to it too. But yeah, the desktop application, 100%, so intimidating. Even the app could be, right? But it's just a little. I love the app. I think that app shits on any app, right? Even Robinhood, as great as the Robinhood interface is, the Thinkorswim app is just like you go to your watch list. It's just like a live feed. It's by the second, millisecond. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm a huge fan of that.
I'm a big fan of the app. I'm on it all day long.
Yeah. And I have like Parabolic Code who's in the chat. She's learning on Thinkorswim, right? I learned kind of on Robinhood on when I first traded options. So yeah, trying to learn options in general and then learning it on Thinkorswim, it can be a lot, right? So, but yeah, no, that is a good thought to do the trades live, right? To show people. That could be like a 2-hour video because then I got to plug it into my spreadsheet, right? It's a big process. But
I'd
and
be
then,
interested to see that as how you plug it all into your spreadsheet.
yeah, it's it's a little time consuming, but I enjoy like looking at the results and then I enjoy sharing it, of course, whether good or bad, right? So, um, but yeah, no, if that's a thought for Friday, or at least any Friday I'm off, because it would be useless any other day because I'm not really doing many trades. But, all right. I think we're gonna wrap it up. Any final thoughts, Jake or Jeff? Are you guys gonna come back and do another live stream?
I'll be back.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate everything that you do. I mean, having this community is priceless for some people, for me anyway. I even went to look for other ones and I can't even find any other ones. So I'm all in on this place and appreciate what you do.
No, you're welcome. You're part of you guys are part of what makes it great, right? Because obviously we all, in the end, yeah, that's my goal was really that in the beginning, the very beginning, community. I didn't think people actually would eventually watch me on YouTube, but that obviously worked out too. And then creating the Discord. Discord's kind of its own monster, right? It's a place where, you know, you and I and all of us can go to talk to other people who actually care about investing. Because I always say in the real world, when I step out of my house, who the hell am I going to talk to about this? No one gives a crap. Right? My family don't care about this. My friends, I mean, my friends pretend like they want to learn, but they don't. They, you know, they just say, "Here, log in my account. You can do that." No, you know. So it's like, where else can you go? And that's, I think, the beauty behind it, having the Discord. Which, again, I was never really a Discord person either in the beginning. I'm like, this thing looks like a scammy little app, but it ended up being perfect for what it's used for. So but no,
Yeah, my son works on Wall Street and he don't want to talk about it.
yeah. Well,
he's not
when it's your
allowed to.
job, it's different, I guess. Yeah. So because when I don't want to talk about anything I do, you know, for my full-time job either, but it's like I get that. But yeah, this is like our hobby, right? So we kind of love to talk about it, and where else can you go, right? So but yeah, no, I'm happy to have you. I want to say thank you to both Jake and Jeff for joining me today. Awesome. Perfect. You know, we'll have this again. I'm thinking the occasional Monday morning, it'll be an options roundtable. You know, anyone who's interested, feel free to message me. Right now, we just kind of have the options trading consistent people or that showed interest. But if beginners want to just hop on and ask questions, that would be great too, right? So I think nothing's, you know, we could do anything. There's not really a set limit because again, I'm kind of replacing the morning show with an options roundtable because I'm taking a break from interviewing because it could be exhausting. It's fun and all, but this is easier, you know. And with the chaos at home, it's just I need a little easier in my life. So yeah, we'll keep in touch, obviously, in the Discord. So as always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Jake is not a financial advisor. Jeff is not a financial advisor. None of us are financial advisors, and this video was for fun and entertainment. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you're entertained. If not, come back maybe another time and we'll talk. Outside of that, if you guys enjoy the content, let us know via the comments. If you would like to be a part of the options roundtable, feel free to reach out. But yeah, I think we're gonna call it a wrap. So we got to get to the keyword, which means if you made it this far in the video and you want to prove it, got to say the keyword. So we have two guests, Jake and Jeff. Again, thank you very much for being here this early. I don't know if you're normally up this early, but if you're not, I'd even thank you even more. But do either of you have a keyword, or do you both want to do your own keyword?
I say Jake and Jeff.
Double J. How about double J?
Oh, there you go. Double J. Perfect.
JEFFJARRET. Yeah. You know, I had to throw a little wrestling comment in there, but all right. The keyword for today is double J, or Jeff Jake, or Jake Jeff, or whatever you whatever you want to type in, right? So yeah, thanks again, Jake and Jeff, for being here. I appreciate it. We'll talk. We'll resume this conversation in the Discord. We'll do some Roddies. We'll do some Zebras. We'll do some Zickets. We'll do some whatever. But no, thanks again for being here. We're going to end it there. And I think, yeah, I'm going to end it again with the song. You guys can stay on if you want, or you can click off. But that's going to be my outro, the ROD song, and then I'm going to end the live stream. All right.
Ooh. Yeah. Good morning, friends. R to the O to the D. Retire on dividends, you know me. Cash flow mindset moving differently. Numbers don't lie, plans stay ready. If you want that life, say freedom with me. R to the O to the D. Retire on dividends, you know me. Built, not sold, yeah, intentionally. No hype talk, just clarity. If you want that life, say freedom with me. Mid-40s, married man, house stay loud. Raising up boys, turning boys into men. New puppy running, chaos around. Still clocking in, but he plotting the end. Giants fan scars, yeah, he wear that pain. Smiles through the losses like part of the game. Never throw shots, never talks that mess. Yeah, builds people up, less results address. Yeah, streams every day, never missing a beat. YouTube live X when the mic get heat. Not selling dreams, just showing the math. Wins and drawdowns, full on his path. Spreadsheet brain with a streetwise frame. Plays of discipline, never chasing fame. R to the O to the D. Retire on dividends, you know me. Cash flow mindset moving differently. Numbers don't lie, plans stay ready. If you want that life, say freedom with me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Options on screen, risk handle precise. Structures built calm, every move got a price. Cover calls roll, protection in place. Time on his side, patience setting the pace. They say slow down, he say stay exact. Same calm tone when the market snap. Runs through mud, just to test that will. Same mindset when the chart goes still. Sings on the post, crowd laugh, he grin. Go dig a hook, but the lesson still win. Movie quotes fly, wrestling frame. Serious work, but he keep it light, man. R to the O to the D. Retire on dividends, you know me. Cash flow mindset moving differently. Numbers don't lie, plans stay ready. If you want that life, say freedom with me. If you want that life, say freedom with me. This was for fun and entertainment purposes. I hope you have fun and were entertained. And if not, I'll do better next time. And if you made it this far, and you want to make sure everybody knows, you gotta say the key word. Freedom! Freedom!
Later.